area, working with senior sections, mostly rovers in the last couple of years, and helping out with communications at the Cascadia level, and also working on the planning team for the upcoming World Moot, which was supposed to be in 2021, now rebranded Moot 2022 in Ireland. Teams. So Microsoft Teams is a collaborative environment. It's basically the Microsoft has branded it with this term Teams, but what it really means is it's a group of people who come together to collaborate. And there's three major collaboration functions that we really like. First one is you're using right now, which is the online video conferencing. We're collaborating like that, and we've got a little chat window on the side where we can communicate, come to agreement on things, and work in real time. So that's one aspect of Microsoft Teams. The other aspect, the second one of the three ways I look at it, is that it's there for one-to-one chatting. So it's there for me to talk to my group commissioner, or to Robin on a communication thing, or with Alex on some other project, and we can just chat messages to each other like you would in any other texting functions, and communicate that way, either in writing or talking, voice or voice with video. So not just a large group like this group forum, but actually one-to-one. And then the third way I think of using Microsoft Teams is actually within discussions with peers or groups around a topic. And that's where the idea of a Teams channel comes together. So Alex is going to go ahead and tell you about getting started with Microsoft Teams and how you get an invite and how you actually join a team for your specific group. So your specific group, in our case, it was First Cedar Hill. It has a team, and invites are sent out, and individual group committees, members, and scouters accept that invitation by email and join the team. When they join the team, they can then start that collaboration that we talked about, and have the one-to-one conversations, and have the video conferences. So that's the functions that we want to talk about with you today, specifically about how it's going to support your particular scouting group in going forward. So Alex, do you want to talk about how you would join a team?
Yes. I'm actually, before we do how to join the team, I'm going to loop in Jennifer just because she has to step out in 15 minutes. So I just want to get her in before we lose her. So Jennifer, we've asked her, she's one of the GCs here for First Willow Point. And we've asked her to speak on behalf of the benefits and why teams, why now, from a GC's perspective for group management.
Why now? I don't know. I wasn't part of that discussion. Nothing like putting me on the spot. No. For those that don't know me, I've been in scouting for, 9 years almost now. And I've been the GC for probably the last 3 or 4. I guess it's closer to 4 or 5. I don't know. Something. It seems like a long time. Within our group, and I'm sure you guys experience it, there's a lot of documents that you share within your sections as well as within the group. And in our case, we have, every scouter has a repository of stuff. I had a repository of stuff. I tried to amalgamate it all onto Google, but not everybody has access to Google. So some of the key features I've really liked with Teams and with the Microsoft platform is having that ability to have that repository, but not just have that repository, but be able to come into a meeting like this and I'll be looking at the same thing. So I can pull it up and share, and we can edit it as we go. We can do videos if we need to. We can look at training. Excuse me. It's going to cut down on some of the email chains that are going back and forth in my email box. If your group commissioners as email heavy as I am, I mean, I probably send 10 emails a week to various things. And then I have everybody responding back. So being able to use some of the features Andrew and Alex are going to show you with some of the chat features and how you can put things in the different channels, it'll help us stay more organized and hopefully eliminate some of those mass emails where you are confused as to where we're at in the conversation because we're 10 emails in and now we're sidetracked somewhere else. So those are some of the things that I'm looking forward to with it. I've already uploaded over 4,000 files for my group, and I've invited any of my scouters who has files at home to do the same thing, because then we can start to pair out and start utilizing some templates rather than everybody having to recreate the wheel every time. That's about what I'm finding to be the best so far.
That's awesome. Thank you so much, Jennifer. I think you hit the nail on the head, and it's a great storage place, not just storage, but the cloud capability for editing and sharing files and group collaboration. Anyone who works in a team understands how that's so important. So we're really excited to have this built out, and thank you for touching on that.
No worries. I use this for work as well. So I've seen a lot of different capabilities that the system has. So the question about the guests, you can video share with guests, you can share screens with guests. So if you decide to have your youth involved or your parents involved, they don't have to have accounts to be able to be a part of it, which makes it really flexible compared to some of the systems that I've used.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. And as you all know, most of you that aren't GCs on this call, you have been invited via the guest portal. So this is the experience that you get from the guest perspective. Every GC on in my portfolio now. So there's lots of groups on the islands, so I can't name them all. But we have 12 who are part of this pilot program, and all of them have been assigned a group email. So for example, Jen's email is firstwillowpoint@scouts.ca. That scouts.ca license allows her the opportunity to be the leader, to create her team and be the lead in organizing all of the players that join the team as guest users. We won't be assigning scouts.ca license emails to anyone beyond the GC at this point, and for what we know for now, just because we don't see that the cost trade-off is there just quite yet. We think that guests can get a lot out of the tool with the access that you have, and we will be showing you today what you can do on this team and how you do it. So it is technical. We are going to cover a lot of stuff today. I am recording this call, so you can always review it at any time to look back at it. And we will be here to continue to support all of you on the onboarding experience with this platform. So just to kind of give you that perspective. And so I'm moving on, right, Andrew, into what an email invite looks like. Okay. So I'm going to share my screen. So this is one of the really great benefits with Teams. I can show you what I can see. So I'm going to share this PDF document. Can you see this wide open? I'm going to need Andrew to speak out loud just because I can't see anyone on the screen.
Yes, we can see it.
Yeah, you can see the PDF? Okay.
Yeah, if you could zoom in a little bit, that would be good too. There we go.
There we go. Okay, so when you add a member to your team, we'll show you how to do that, but we just want to show you what it looks like from a guest perspective when you add someone and when you receive the email. So when you are in your team folder, you get an option to add somebody from outside your organization. And so you just type in their email and it will pop up to add this person as a guest, and you would click the add button. And what happens is that this guest user gets an email sent to this account, and this is what the email looks like. It says you've been added to a team in Microsoft Teams, open Teams here. And when they open Teams, they are given the option, and it doesn't show us here, but it gives them the option to either join through the web browser. So the web browser would be your Google Chrome, Firefox, whatever they use on Mac. I'm a PC user, so Safari. I remembered. Safari. That is what your web browser means, and that's what that refers to. Or you can download the desktop app. So that's something that is like email, where you open up your computer, you start it, and the Teams will automatically load and open as your computer loads, and it's right there in the background. We do recommend that all of you download the desktop. The experience is much more it's more enjoyable having the desktop app downloaded or having it downloaded to your mobile phone. The mobile application is one of the best mobile applications between what you would get on a desktop and on your phone. I think all of us have it, and it offers the exact same functions that you would get on the computer. And you'll see why that's a huge benefit, especially with the ability to chat and text and phone call and video call each other through the mobile app. So I'm going to stop sharing my screen. Okay. And so what happens when you get invited as a guest user into a Teams account? It will ask you to log in with that email. So for example, if I send an invite to andrew.faulkner@gmail.com, that email invite goes to his Gmail box. He opens it up, and when he clicks on Add Teams, it's going to open to a Windows view, and his email will be in there, and it'll ask you to insert your password. You cannot use the same password as your Gmail. You will have to create a new password. So that's sometimes where there's a little bit of confusion when setting up your account, because what you're doing essentially is setting up a new Microsoft account with your Gmail or whatever your personal email account is. And then that is the password that you will use to access Microsoft Teams moving forward. And then so I guess we'll move forward to the general overview of what guests can do. We're just using you like it is a guest account just because it's not a licensed email. So I'm going to share my screen so you can just see what that looks like. I think it's time to give you guys a good visual of what our Microsoft Teams. There we go. So you can all see each other right now. Andrew's like, hey. Yes, you can all see each other. So this is the main bar on the left-hand side that most of you see. The only thing that you will not have as a guest user is the calendar function. You will have activity, chat, Teams, and calls? No. Andrew?
Let me just look.
I know, I can't, sorry guys, I can't remember that one. We were on it as guest users today,
Yeah.
but
No
I don't
calls.
recall. Yeah, no
Yep.
calls. So no calendar, no calls, but you have all four of these.
Yep.
The Teams icon is how you access the team. The team is that collaborative environment that we were talking about before. It might look a little scary. I have a lot of teams on my account, but we are going to use First Rubber Boot as an example. So ignore this. I wish I could hide it. I don't know if I can hide it. Ignore these things. The most important one is this right here. So this is a team. This is our example of Cascadia First Rubber Boot. So for example, this could be First Willow Point. And right now you just see a lot of names being added and channels being created. That is just what it does to track when there's activity on the account. It shows you what's being designed. But basically how it works is that you have your main group, your main team, and then channels built out for specific content that you would be collaborating or talking about. And what you can do with this is you can connect with each other on a Teams platform and have conversations and post. I don't want to talk about that yet. Sorry, I jumped the gun on that one, on polls. So there's the channel function within Teams. You also have the ability to chat with one another one-on-one. So for example, I had a conversation with Robin today, and it's bolded dark color because I haven't read it yet. That's a new message from someone. But you are able to chat with guest to guest on here. So this is Andrew's account as a guest. And so if I open that up, it shows a record of our conversation. And this is one of the highlights of the Teams tool, is that this chat function will store all your messages and all your chats, no matter how many you have, and all the files. And so now the use of email is reduced. I think a lot of us have experienced where we'll email back and forth, but not everyone responds to the email thread, and they'll start a new email thread and they'll message a whole bunch of people. And there's so much content that's lost that was in the first email that's not in the second email thread. And it's just a pain in the butt to go back. And that is the benefit of having the chat function. And you can chat one-on-one with somebody, or you can create a group chat. And so Andrew is engaging me online with a little hello, and I'm going to respond back because you get access to emojis because they're so fun. And use it that way. So this very much is like an internal chat function that a lot of you might be familiar with your professional organizations. And then also the activity. So this is also really important for you to know about. This is just like a notification center that you would see on Facebook. I think most of us on this call are familiar with Facebook and has used it before, and know what that means when I say notifications. So basically any activity that you are doing on Teams will be sent to you if it's tagged. So if I write a post, so right here I wrote a virtual onboarding. I told the GCs that we were going to plan this call, and if somebody liked it, I would get a notification in this activity corner, and it would pop up here like how it says Robin reacted to your post. So I saw that he liked it, or he loved it, or they liked it. You can also see when someone replies to your post, or mentions you. So mentions is something we're going to get into a little bit later, but it's super important with the whole concept of the activity and getting people pinged or notified. And then files. So files is your cloud storage that you will be able to access. All the files that you have on your teams will be here in kind of like a general single file like this. Don't worry, you have the ability to organize and create file folders like you would on any form of a file storage spot. Just in the basic, this shows you the recent opening. But if I was to go into Teams and show you the group commissioner corner, so this is the team that we built up for all of our group commissioners. We have lots of discussions going on, comments and tagging, but we also have a file section. And the file section is where you would organize yourself like you would with any file organizing thing. So you can have your folders and your subfolders, et cetera, et cetera. So that is the basic overview. So I'm going to stop sharing just so I can look at my agenda just to make sure I know what I'm doing. And I actually am going to go back to sharing my screen because I'm going to talk about the notifications. So this is the part about tagging that I wanted to really hit home with everyone on this, because this is super important when we use Teams. It's kind of the whole purpose. So I'll just open that back up again. Okay. So if I am in my group as a scouter and first rubber boot, and you can see, can you guys see the difference in here, how these are unbolded but this one is bolded? I'm sure you all can see that. So when something is bolded, that means there's activity on this channel. If I didn't receive a red dot, that means nobody tagged me. And so when I will show you what a tag looks like, it's a direct ping or direct notification for a person, which is really important to do. Otherwise, no one's going to see this. If I didn't scroll down my team list to look at this, I would have never seen that there was activity in this channel. And so when I click on it, it's always like, oh, it's just a hi. Andrew just wanted to say hi to the team. And so I can reply to him And if I want to notify Andrew directly, I would simply type in the @ sign before his guest username. So for this example, he's using his guest email, which is AWF2766. And the highlighted purple means his name is tagged, and he will receive a notification up in his activity center, and he will get a notification on his phone because he has the mobile app. And so I'm going to say, hey, how's it going? And press enter, and he gets notified. Andrew, do you want me to stop sharing my screen so you can show what it looks like on your phone? Or... Okay. So with that, you can also tag all the people that are in a channel or in the team. So if I have a message for all the scouters, so say I am a troop scouter and I have an event going on and I need more hands on deck outside of my scouter group. And so I'm going to put a call for scouter help. And I'm going to say, hey, team @ and I'm going to tag all of Cascadia first rubber boot. So if I start typing in the name, the option to tag them will come up. And so now everybody in the team will receive a notification. If I didn't write anything or tag anyone, this would just pop up in the window and be bolded on your screens, but you would never know it's happening. So tagging someone is super important for making this do what it's supposed to do. And that's, I think that's one concept that not everyone gets in the first round. Even the staff members have a hard time remembering to do that. But it really is just exercising a different habit when you're typing messages to people and getting in the habit of tagging someone directly. So it's like, hey, Andrew, I know you said you could help. Are you available? And then I would post that, and he would get notified and everybody in the group would get notified. And to know that I sent the notification out to everyone, you receive a red bubble in here that the whole team was tagged or was mentioned. Okay, and I'm just gonna look at this. Did I miss anything, Andrew? Oh, and he's showing you guys on your phone. I don't know if you can see that. He's been holding it up to the screen. Andrew, you might have to talk so your video window pops up on the main screen. You're still on mute, Andrew.
There you go.
There we go.
So now I should be able to take control of your screen, or you can also pin me right onto the main screen as well. So if I'm the most important talker, that's another option. But there you go. So you can see that you get those little icons lighting up in the bottom of the app. It's very cool. It's very intuitive. It's one of the better Microsoft apps I've used on my phone. This is an Android. It looks good on the iPhone as well.
So those are that's the notification component. Super important. Tag people. Just write the app before their name.
Right. And when they when they actually share my screen now, so this is the Scouters channel. Can you see that now? That Alex was working on, and you can see every time she tagged me, it actually shows up in red and throws a special symbol down the side of it. So I know that I was specifically mentioned in there. And of course, it shows up in my activity feed. Oh, Dave sent me a test. Nice. Thank you, Dave. Okay. What would you like me to talk about next, Alex?
I'm just going to open up the floor if there's any questions at this moment. We'll take a pause. Any questions on what we've covered so far or on tagging notifications? You can throw it into the chat. Okay. We'll move on. And at any time you have a question, just throw it into the chat. You're not going to interrupt the presentation. So Andrew, you're on to the next portion, which is the chat functions, going a little bit more in depth with that one.
Great. I'll go back and take over the screen here.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, now I'm presenting on, this is my, I've signed on just as a guest account, so you're seeing exactly what any of your group committee guests would see. This is through the web browser only, not through the desktop app. Those are the 4 icons down the side. Just historically what the activities are that have been notified to me, the chat area, the Teams area, and the files area. So starting off with chat, Alex and I were doing a little bit of that back and forth. What you see on this chat that we started earlier today is that Alex sent me a couple of files to look at, and we've had a bit of an exchange here back and forth. The interesting to know about chatting and posting is that there's a very simple text line here that looks just like you're typing any new message. And it's kind of boring. It's like just texting. But what Teams allows you to do is to make much more interesting writing by dropping down and opening up that icon there, that A with a little paintbrush on it, opens up a full edit window so that you can actually write very clear and concisely and with bold and interface, really nice style. So that's useful. That's there for whenever you can write in posts or in chatting, and it just enhances the communication a little bit. What Alex suggested, that when you are typing along, you can also add other folks. You can also mention other people. So if I hit @ here, oh, I don't have anybody else in this particular one. Let me go to. Oh, this context. This is me signed in as Scouter Andrew, not with my private email, not with my personal email, but as my Scouts email. And so I'm signed into many different chats. But to create a chat, always just hit the little icon up here and you type in the people that you want to talk to. So I know Scouter Robin's on here and Scouter Alex is on here. And I've created a new chat. Demonstrates spelling. No, the simplicity. So that now initiates a chat with 2 other people. If I wanted to specifically, like we said before, just mention something about Alex, I hit the @ symbol, and it gives me a suggestion who I might be meaning to talk to based on who it knows is in the call. And so I can particularly direct this. So that's pretty familiar chatting. There's not much more to say about that. There are some nuances related to how you can actually share files in while you're chatting. As you can see, when I'm signed in with my Scouts account, the options I have in a chat are chat and files. And maybe I can add in a few other things. If I just look at me signed in with my old Gmail account, this one, I just have chat. I don't have access to files. So files in chat are only the privilege of the folks who have a scouts.ca a domain. So your group commissioner, who has the group name subdomain, is licensed to actually share files. The way around that is to just share with things like link to your Google Drive file. It's an easy way to share files. Are you getting questions there, Alex? I hear some exchange.
Yep, we do. One question is, it's a random question, but I actually want to know it too. Is First Rubber Boot a Canadian military reference?
No, it's something that I've seen in wood badge training courses going back for several decades, that the default group that you would be joining as a Beaver Scouter or as a Cub Scouter when you're in training would be like the First Rubber Boot. So I don't know the origin of the reference. It could very well come from the military.
Mm-hmm. And we have one other one. We just need to go back a little bit to the tagging. So Andrew, you can do this. Can you just show the group, because I lost my screen share, how to tag the group or a channel? Okay.
So that I'll do that as part of moving to actually working in channels now. So this is a great feature, conversations. And you'll notice up here, just to finish this off, if I wanted to switch from the typing part to saying, oh, this is getting complicated, I need to actually talk to these people, you can hit the telephone or hit the video conference button, and you would initiate a call with the people that you're chatting with. And so that's kind of cool. So let's switch over and have that discussion about the team. So this is First Rubber Boot. And one thing that I want to emphasize again, even though Microsoft calls it Teams, the term should be thought of as a collection of people who are within one security group. So everybody who is a member of your team can see all the conversations happening in all these channels and participate in them collaboratively, and have access to all the files that get posted in all these channels and work collaboratively. So you join a team by being asked to join a team, and once you're in a team, you can decide which of the channels you're most interested in participating in. So in this particular scenario that I've got highlighted on here, I'm tracking the channel for the group committee, for whatever the group commissioner is talking about in the group commissioner layer. I'm a troop scouter, so I've joined the troops. I'm looking at the troop scouter channel, and I'm looking at the scouters channel. I can also look at any of these other channels that are of interest that we've created to talk about, and you can create and delete channels as you see fit in your group. But I'm going to also show an events channel. I've decided that I'm interested in that, and I can also decide what kind of notifications I want to receive when anything happens in that channel. So I can say I want to be notified of all activity related to events. And now that will not just highlight that in dark if somebody types something in the events channel, which is currently blank. Oh, Dave. That's an old one. But it would also highlight the activity, and I'll get a little buzz on my phone because I'm actively chose to track these notifications. I can turn that off, and then I'll only get notified if somebody is replying directly to something I typed, or if somebody does one of those @mention things. So let's take a look. Since Dave wrote this, I can, since we're in a conversational channel, we're building a thread, and then it's, I can type a direct reply to Dave here in this channel just by hitting the reply under the comment he made. So that would have just alerted Dave directly. If I wanted to particularly create a new conversation about an event, I could alert the whole channel of folks who are interested in the event by typing channel and picking the event, add events, and saying and start a conversational thread on that. Folks will receive an alert on that. You notice I was just typing it in directly. I can also go back and edit that if I think, oh, that's not a good way to announce that. Dave's made a comment back to me, and just like in any kind of threaded discussion, I can acknowledge that that's really great. When I hover over the typing the entry I made, I get besides being able to make these little replies, I can also go in here and edit the message. And it throws me into that editing thing because I realized that that wasn't very interesting. In edit, and when you're in posting in a channel, you can also do other things like add a subject. And you can decide that this isn't just a conversation, but it's actually an announcement, and it gets a slightly nicer banner headline here that's going to push out and gets everybody's attention. So and when you're happy that you've formatted that, everything like, you just click it and you've now updated that posting. So when you're writing about topics, and this is in channels, so this is my events channel, where the discussion for this group is about the various things they're doing as a group for events. You can give titles to the discussions you're having in here, and the nice thing is you can add in your files, your planning files can be dropped in here under the particular topic. So if these events were things like beginning of the year barbecue, you can create subfolders and for your year start, and you can put all your planning documents then and things that you're creating for that in here. And so besides having a communication platform where you've now gone and posted information and organized and collected the files you also have a knowledge base that you can go back to next year. And you can also at any time search this knowledge base, because that's the beauty of working within a team and with these subtopics, is that you can then go and look for when it says it can't find anything. That surprised me. Oh, and worked before. Looking for messages, files, and more. Okay. Anyway, so there is a powerful search command that is not behaving for me just now. Okay.
Andrew, can you
Yes.
show them what happens when you don't open the format box for typing in a reply or posting?
Sure.
Just because that one seems to always happen, and it's just good to. It's annoying. Everyone's gonna appreciate how annoying it is because you can't. Every time you press enter, it sends your message and it publishes it. So
yes, exactly.
yeah.
So hitting a reply here to Dave.
And if he wasn't done his sentence and he pressed enter and wanted to go to the next line, it just publishes it. So I've had some of my group support scouters send me 5 lines of messaging just because they didn't open up the format box, and it just becomes a little bit tedious at that point.
Exactly. So yes, that's why when you're hitting there, just get in the habit of hitting the editor and creating a well-formed message.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly.
So just to recap, I did show you two ways, and Dave used it there. You can get somebody's attention. You use that @ symbol and start typing their name, or you can get the attention of the whole everybody who's tracking that channel by either typing the name of the channel. Oops, spell it right. What I usually do is just type channel, and then it pops up the one that I'm working on, capital E. You can also, within a posting, notify multiple channels. So that's if you wanted to make sure you're notifying the events channels, and in particular, all the scouters. You can put more than one notification in. And of course, you can attach a file there if you want to. And that will highlight to notifications in both these. Okay.
Some good tunes in the background there.
Something's happening. Something's happening.
Mm-hmm.
Another thing that we wanted to just show you quickly is one of the cool functions that we've built in here, and we've added it to the group committee channel, but of the default group that everybody's getting, but you can add it to any channel you want, is the ability to add in polls. So did you want to go through that a little bit, or Alex?
Yep. I'm just
Are you able to take over the screen now?
Yep.
Okay.
Sorry, I was just replying in the chat box. Michelle, I hope that answered your question. If not, we can connect offline if you need further explanation or support with deciding how to join teams. Okay, so I'm going to show you guys a really cool benefit. I'm sure all of you have experienced those times where scheduling a meeting can be pretty tedious with multiple people and different schedules, and it's just not the most fun experience. So one of the great benefits with the Teams platform is that you can host virtual calls even as guests. So a GC with an email license can set up a calendar call, like a calendar invite. So a virtual call like the one we have done here today, where we sent you an invite to join through a calendar. that is not something that's accessible for guest users. And so we found out today actually that you can still host virtual calls, but it would be considered a live event in the channel that you're in. So I'm going to show you what that looks like. So if the group committee wanted to have an all section Scouter meeting and they wanted to include everybody in this, they would go to the group committee channel and they would post a poll. And the poll would offer date and time options for when people could join the meeting. And so I'm just going to show you how that looks when you log in. Very easy to download the app. And I just got to put in my password.
The new password.
I know, I almost forgot it too. I almost had to get my little book in my drawer. So Polly is like a semi-free app. So obviously the basic function you get for free with the hopes that you'll upgrade. And so what happens when you, I think someone wants to join the call. Andrew, are you able to admit them or am I the only one that can admit them? Oh, sorry. Okay, sorry, I got a notification. So what happens is you can create a new poll. And so in order to set up a meeting, I've done this a lot with my GSS team. We meet bi-weekly to have small team discussions and updates on how groups are doing and what support we can provide at the CK3 level. And so with that, we do, we use the poll to give them the time and options to meet. You can pick for how long the poll stays open, and it will close at the date and time that you have selected. So when you click on the date, you choose that and the time. So right now I have it 7 days after I publish it. And you can choose if it's reoccurring, but that's paid, so never mind. And the reason why it's free is you can only post one question per poll posting. So it's not a great option for something that requires multiple questions and answers. I've only used this just to set up meeting times. So I have my meeting times ready on my sticky note, so I can just copy and paste. So you don't have to watch me type. And so I said, oh, maybe we can meet Monday, August 27th, or we can meet Tuesday, August 25th at 8 to 9:30 p.m. or Wednesday, August 26th, 7 to 8:30 p.m. Add a choice. And you can allow multiple votes. I'll do that because some people are okay with multiple or all of them. And so you can choose if you want an audience to add a choice, so they can add in like, oh, what about Thursday at 5 p.m. But for this example, I'm just going to keep that part closed. I will keep on that people can comment on the post or the poll, and that the results are shown in real time so that I see them as they come in. And you can choose if the audience submissions are non-anonymous or anonymous. And for this case, because it's for a meeting, non-anonymous would be best. So then you click preview. And that's what the poll will look like when I publish it to the group committee channel. So I'm going to send it. And this is my Polly page. So it showed me that I have started a new poll. It's going to be sent today at this time, and it should be there already. So when I click back on the group committee channel, there it is. And so all guest users part of the teams can select the time, and then whoever or whichever time date slot has the most votes will be the time and date that you would meet. And so to host a meeting, you would just say, I would make an announcement. So Andrew voted for Tuesday, August 25th, and he also voted for Wednesday. Say we had 4 more people and they all voted Tuesday. That was the consensus. I would, as the lead of the meeting, send an announcement and just say monthly meeting at Tuesday, August 25th. I have no idea if that's the time. I want to be 7 to 8:30. I have no idea if that's the right time, but you get the point. 8:30 p.m. Join us here on this channel at group committee Tune in. And so I would post that, and then on August 25th at 7 to 8:30 p.m., you would click this button right here where it says Meet Now. So that is the benefit of the non-scheduled meeting. So if I clicked on this, everybody who was logged into Teams and on this group committee channel would be able to have a virtual call and have a virtual meeting. So that was one kind of loophole that we found that Scouters could use for section meetings. And so I think a lot of you will see the benefits to this. You can also meet with your youth through this portal if you choose to bring in youth, the older sections, of course. But for Scouters who want to meet to discuss maybe an adventure that's coming up with the crew or the company, and you can have these meetings online through this setting. And then I think we all know that the group committee meetings will be super beneficial, so everybody can attend, as virtual offers us so many opportunities to not have to commute or find babysitters. So that's just kind of the one cool benefit, that you can host live meetings through any of the channels based on those topics. Anything I missed, Andrew?
No, that looked great, and all my devices were pinging and blinking as you were sending those things out.
Great, lots of notifications are popping up. Yeah, so that's one tool that we're gonna encourage all of the GCs to include in the channels within their group. So we'll work with them on getting that set up, but basically to add an app, you would just press add a tab in this corner. And then it will pop up all of the apps that are available through Microsoft, and you can play with them. You can add anything you want, really. But Polly is one of the more popular ones, so it's right there for you to add, and you would just click on it and it would open up. But I'm just gonna exit out of that. Okay, Ange, I'm gonna stop sharing my screen. Okay. And did we go thoroughly into channels, Andrew? I just want to make sure we covered that one.
I think there's been communication put out to the group commissioners on how to create or edit or drop channels. The key thing to remember is that for the most part, channels are open to anybody who's a member of the team. So anybody you've invited in can choose to participate in one of those topic channels that they want to, and select their level of notification of their that they want to get alerted as to traffic in them. So that's important. And it's as you're working in a channel, if you realize you want somebody else as part of that conversation who isn't normally, in that particular topic, you can just mention them and they'll get dragged into that channel to carry on that thread. So that's use that wisely, because it can be annoying, but it's a pretty good way of dragging people into the conversation who you think should be part of it. I'm just going to share my screen to talk about some of the issues around having a lot of channels and how you can tidy that up a little bit for yourself. This is my my workingscouts.ca login. As you can see, I'm clicked on to my teams right now. I'm looking at my teams, and I'm viewing the Cascadia Group Commissioner Corner team here, and my own groups team are the two main teams I have here. But notice I've got these channels all listed at the top, and that was done because I pinned these particular channels up here. I wasn't currently very interested in the group committee, though I probably should be, because there's been some traffic on it. So I can say, well, I should just actually keep that up here in view all the time. And so you can just go and say, well, pin that channel, and I'll just add it to the list at the top. Because I'm not particularly interested in tracking the equipment topics or the finance topics right now. They're available to me, but I don't necessarily want to attend to them right away. So that's one thing you can do. And so these are my teams. I also have hidden teams down here. These are teams that I belong to, but I don't want to have in view cluttering up my screens. I'm a member of a number of teams because I've been helping set up all your teams. So I get to, there's a whole list of them here. And I have just gone ahead and selected that it's hidden. If I wanted to bring it into your team's view, I would just say show. But I've left, I just don't need them. So they're hidden. So you can go ahead and pin and unpin channels you're particularly interested in tracking. So they're always at the top of your list. And then you'll see here particular information that you're interested in. Interesting enough, when I think that's a direct mention count of the number of direct mentions in there that has been coming from Dave. Yes, there's that direct mention. As you can see, when I actually go and read it, put it in view, the prompt disappears. That was there. So that's cleaning up the desktop a little bit if you got a lot of teams going on. I must admit that right now with COVID, I'm in the office, my home office all the time, and I can kind of have this up in the corner in a window and work with it as I need to. But when I'm out and about, I mean, it really is useful having the mobile app and being able to respond to that. And the problem with the app is you can only log into one particular corporation group or the company at a time. And since my work is a company and has teams, and Scouts Canada has a company and has teams, and Scouting Ireland, where the moot is being planned, has its own teams, I have to choose which one I want to be signed in at any given time on my phone app. But since scouting's pretty much all of our lives, that's a pretty easy choice, right?
Number one. That's awesome. Thanks, Andrew. And we're almost done here, and we'll open up the floor for any questions, or if we need to go back to a topic that we did cover. I do just want to show you file storage, sharing, and copying. So this is a tool that I think all of you are going to be using. So I'm just going to share my screen with you again as it slowly loads. Okay. So within your team, you're going to be accessing a lot of files, a lot of editing. You're going to be sharing it with each other. So I just want to show you how to do that. So I'm part of for Cedar Hill. There we go. So if I was in the group committee channel and I wanted to, I had some files that were stored in here. With access to team, even as a guest user, you get access to all of the Microsoft Suite package. So you can create Word docs, Excel docs, PowerPoint, OneNotes, anything you want. And you can upload anything from your desktop. So you can drag and drop or upload by clicking the button, and it's just like anything where you would upload the folder. But for this example, I just want to show you a Word document. So this is a test. And you create the title of it. And it's just like any Word document, have all the same functions that you would. So you get all this for free, which is a pretty cool benefit. And you can edit within it. So you can track your edits with anyone and collaborate. You can start a conversation within the document. So this will be really good for business planning or planning really extensive projects, especially for those that are sending some of their youth to the World Jamboree in Ireland, or Portugal, I think is another one that they're planning. So you can have conversations in here, and you can mention people just like you do in the channels as well. But so I'm just going to close that just because I needed the file to show you how to change things. So say I had a file in here in the group committee that needed to be shared to, sorry, I go back down here, that needs to be shared to the events channel and maybe the Scouters channel, just so that they have this documentation for their records. So you would highlight the document by clicking the checks box, and you always look for the 3 little dots. 3 little dots is the more menu button. So it gives you many more options to do with it. From here, you can copy the link and you can send somebody the link in a direct chat. But for this case, in this example, I want to show you how you can move a file and copy a file. So if I wanted to replicate this file and send it to the events channel, I would just click on the copy button. And this menu would show up, and this is the back arrow. So it always click back no matter where you are in Teams, because it shows all the file folders within the channels. And so, like I said, I want to send this to copy it. So it's going to be a duplicate, and I'm going to send that to events. And I don't have a file folder for it, so I'm going to copy it there, and it gets copied into events. And usually I get a little notification right in the bottom to tell me that it's been copied if my computer is moving a little bit faster. And the same thing with just moving a document. So you have to highlight it, and then to physically move it, you click the move button and select which folder you would want to move it to, and you can move it. And you can also download files. So if you download it, that gets downloaded to your computer, to your desktop, and you can do with it whatever you want. So that's just the basic functions of how to like move and share a file, and any file. If it's a spreadsheet or if it's a PowerPoint, it doesn't matter. That's how you would easily move them and copy them between channels. Okay, so I believe that is the end of our walkthrough. Do we have any questions, or does anybody need us to go back to another area for clarification? Please don't be shy. Throw it into the chat box. This is the time to kind of work through the kinks. Any feedback? Anyone want a non-GC, because all my GCs have seen this now and we've worked through this. So a brave scouter on the line here. Do you guys want to give us some feedback? You can say like you're excited, you're a little scared, you need more training.
Some observations about what might have worked well with your you know, where else that you've used Teams that you find is very useful, or where else you've used Teams, say at work or whatever, and what doesn't seem very useful about it.
And to answer Dave's questions from First Douglas, how much does an additional license cost? I am not too sure. I'm not told that, but all I know is that National is not at any point where we're able to offer beyond group commissioners. This is a pilot test because they didn't even want to offer groups the licensed emails, and so we're testing it. We're testing to see if this does work, can work. So if it does work, then we could get additional licenses. So no questions. Okay, so apparently everyone's ready to go. Is there a question here? Yes, yeah, we will be starting to upload files. The CK3 has a bunch. We just haven't gone around to it. We're just getting our GCs off the ground on our Teams platform. But we will be we'll be finding a method or a process on our backend for how we can share files into everybody's personal group teams. So we've had an interesting comment, Andrew. I don't know if you saw that, but
I'm just typing a response. But as opposed to, if you can't see channels or teams right now, like you've you've signed into Teams here and you joined this video conference, but you're not seeing a team, and that's where I really hate the fact that Teams is called Teams. So you haven't seen the your group's team. It's because you haven't been invited and joined a team yet. So you won't see a list of your teams that you're a member of, and if you can't see that, then of course you won't see any of the channels associated with it. So yes, guests can be part of Teams. That's a great thing, and they will see channels, but first they have to join that particular group's team.
Mm-hmm.
And that's done through that email notification that comes out.
Richard just said that they were invited to the team. So I think we're going to have to go offline on this one, Richard, and see what it looks like.
Which group is it?
Richard, which group are you again?
We're Third Douglas.
Third Douglas.
So I think Rod can see the teams, but I'm not positive if Dina can see the teams yet. So Dina, it would have been sent to your Busy Scout email address.
Yeah.
Yes, it was, and that's what I clicked on to get into this forum, but I'm not sure. Maybe I clicked on the wrong thing, but I ended up with all of you, so I assume it was the right thing.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I just looked at the members of Third Douglas, and there are eight members plus you, Richard, and yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the other issue was some of the chats. I was trying to chat with Rod and Dina, Baldrick, and I don't know what you're at now, Busy Scout Dina, but I couldn't, the chat wasn't going through. They couldn't see it, but I included Nick, who has left the conversation, but Nick could see it, which was kind of weird. So I don't know why.
Okay. So Dave asked another great question. Loving all the good questions, Dave. He said, how long is the pilot and what happens to all the content we create if it's not approved to continue? So this pilot isn't like, has a deadline. This is, it was kind of an ad hoc reaction to the fact that we have no staff to replace Tyler and how to continue to support the groups, but also knowing that Teams is something that we want to incorporate at the group level. So I basically just said to my boss, I'm like, if you're not going to hire me someone, I want email licenses and I want to pilot this to see if this actually works. And that was the go ahead. So at this point, it's not going to die unless we let it die. And that means if we don't engage in it. But I have full confidence that this is going to continue to grow. It just takes time. But Teams isn't going anywhere. It's what we use at the staff level as well. So that's why I don't foresee this content ever being eliminated. And if so, we will cross that bridge when we get to it. And Tammy, your question is, where can I find this recording for future viewing with my scouters? I'm going to post the video recording in the group commissioner corner. And I will notify everybody that it's there, and then you can share that into your personal team, or you can email it out to your scouters to watch.